Okay, Baldur's Gate 3, for those who don't know, is an RPG, a recently released RPG that is getting a shit ton of praise, a shit ton of play, and rave reviews from both players and media outlets alike because it's overall a quality game, like just an overall amazing game. When this game released, with all the success it was getting, lots of AAA devs came out to speak against people who expect that same quality from their own company. Xavier Nelson Jr., who's an indie developer, he initiated it with a tweet that says, and I quote, "Like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited with the lovely folks at Lyrian," that's the company who developed the game, accomplished with Baldur's Gate 3, but I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a quote-unquote raised standard to RPGs going forward. And then he gave a rate. Yeah,
I could translate that for the viewer. Basically, listen, we know that game was awesome, but don't expect us to be that awesome as well.
Yeah.
We're not that good. They're basically saying, we don't want to try that hard. We don't want to put as much effort into a game to make it that good. Please don't expect us to. After all, we're lazy who want to put the minimal amount of effort into things, and if it's not good, it's your fault. It's stupid.
It gets better. Okay. Because I'm not going to quote them all because there's too many, but developers from Obsidian Games, from Ubisoft, from CD Projekt Red, from Blizzard, from Bungie, from Insomniac, these are all big companies who develop games we all know and love. And they came out to agree with this man.
Wow.
In their own way, but they all came out to agree with him and actually said, yes, this game is an anomaly. Don't expect this from every company.
Lazy. That's laziness again. What's really happening there is that these developers do not want to be held accountable for making a shit game. And that's not how it works. If your game is shit, it won't sell. It's no different from like these hardcore feminists who's saying, oh, if a female director, makes a movie and it doesn't do well in the box office, it's not because it's a bad movie. It's because you're a bunch of misogynistic assholes. It's man's fault. It's a bunch of men's fault for not going to see it. Like, no, if your story is trash or your movie is trash overall, people are not going to go to see it. That has nothing to do with the men you hate so much. Just saying. There's a big difference between good storytelling and bad storytelling. If your movie sucks, it's because it actually sucks. Especially if the masses are telling you this. If the majority of the people or the moviegoers are telling you this, then there's a good possibility your shit sucks. But that's not the viewer's fault. It's your fault for making a shit film. You get it? The Godfather lives on in infamy because of the storytelling. Because it was so good. It lives on forever. Most everybody knows about The Godfather.
Yeah.
It's not complicated, bro. It's good storytelling. Of course, you have people who don't like it. That's fine. But the masses, the majority of people like The Godfather. Yeah, see where I'm going with this? Do you know how many James Bond games have failed? And people kept saying, it's not as good as GoldenEye. Because GoldenEye set the bar so goddamn high. And that's a good thing. GoldenEye is legendary because it was good, especially for its time. People will naturally do that. It's not as good as Baldur's Gate 3. You're going to be hearing this a lot.
Yeah, basically.
I think that they think people are going to have that expectation, but as you said earlier, it's the truth. I can play Starfield, but I'm going to say, hey, this guy is like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is a little bit better. It has multiplayer, it has cooperative experiences, all of that. That's just the nature of the beast.
People naturally do that. It's an organic thing that happens throughout time. A game is so good, it is remembered by the ones who played it, by the people who played it. It's like, wow, you remember how good that game was? Mario World, my personal favorite, Mario Brothers 3. I'll never forget that game because I grew up with it, number one. Number two, it's a really great game.
The devs made these games considering these RPGs that they've played in the past. So I find it funny that they're saying, "Hey, let's not have this expectation now."
Yeah.
But what was the Baldur's Gate brainstorm when you first came up with it? Man, I was playing this game and that game, and I wish that game had this thing, and that's how it starts. So I think you got to be realistic and understand that you will always be compared.
It should stand out as its own thing. Don't just straight up copy and paste what somebody else did. Then people are going to say, "Oh, you're copying Modern Warfare. You're copying this or that." That's going to happen. You're right. Be unique. You can copy a formula, but don't rip it off. People will call you on that shit, bro.
Be inspired. Don't emulate.
How many RPGs are out there? How many shooters are out there? What are you offering different?
If I created a game and people were saying, "Wow, this is as good as Zelda: Link to the Past," I would be flattered. I would be flattered that you're comparing my shit to such a legendary, timeless game. But that's how I think.
Here's what I find the most interesting. CD Projekt Red is one of these companies, right? CD Projekt Red, who is known for The Witcher and most recently Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Okay.
A game that recently got a 2.0 update, so that way certain features and functions actually work properly. A lot of the ambitious ideas they had when they announced the game back in 2013, the game came out in 2020. The game is now 3 years old.
Wow.
Still, some of those things did not come to fruition. Now, how many people worked on Cyberpunk 2077? 1,000. Guess how many people worked on Baldur's Gate 3? 400. 6 years. Yeah, that game was in development for 6 years. 400 people.
You
And then
see?
you got CD Projekt Red developing a game with a team of 1,000 people who couldn't even get the game to function at launch. So bad that PlayStation Network took the game down from their marketplace.
Holy crap.
No
Wow.
bullshit. They actually took the game down until it was in a playable state.
PlayStation held them accountable then.
Yeah,
Right or wrong. They said, no,
Yeah,
we're going to take your
they
shit out
definitely-
until you actually fix these issues. That's real.
And
Makes sense to me.
What's even more hilarious, like I said, a team of 1,000. Now, that was the game being released 7 years after its announcement, meaning it was in development for longer than that. 7 years from announcement to release, and the game was crashing every 2 seconds or something. Some kind of game-breaking bug automatically just happened in your game.
Which in turn is embarrassing for said developer.
1,000 people couldn't do in more than 7 years what 400 people did in 6.
That's our take on it. What do you guys think? Should the developers be held to the same standard or not? Let us know in the comment section. Till next time, peace.
Don't make me laugh.